All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of our PGA show here on the Tuesday. Got Hoopster here with me. As usual, going to be breaking down all things AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Got a signature event, no cut. Scotty Scheffler is back. Hoopster, what's going on, man? We got a lot to break down, a couple cool things to show off. We'll do the usual, but what's happening, my friend? How you doing?
Yeah, I think this is the first PGA week that I'm kind of genuinely excited, excited. I mean, you and I both, main focus is NFL this time of year. Well, we got the break this week. We have some good events coming up. So I think this is the first week where I'm officially all in, and we'll be making the push all the way through the playoffs. We got signature this week. I believe it's signature next week, and then the waste management coming up after that. So it's a solid stretch here. Looking forward to it. Got 80 guys in the field, not this Corn Ferry garbage field. So it's solid golfers, and excited to break it down, and excited to show the YouTube community a new piece of content that we'll be dropping this week.
Yeah, simplify. That's the word of the day, word of the week. We're going to bring it up here shortly, but just of note, waste management is next week. You're so dialed in that you just flipped them a little bit. Waste management is next week with the Super Bowl, of course. And then it's the Genesis played at Torrey Pines South from last week for another signature event. So a lot of good golf coming up to your point, and I'm excited about that. It's hard to beat, though, when last night we had the TGL, almost like a major. They said it was Tiger and Rory as hyped as they would be if they were at the Masters playing simulation golf. So we can't forget about that.
It is wild to me that people feel the need to just hype something up, whether there's hype around it or excitement, or if they're truly excited about it, they just want to make something out of nothing. There's nothing there. Obviously you put the names of Rory and Tiger in the mix, there's going to be a little bit of excitement, and it's all fake drummed up stuff. No one really wants to fucking tune in and watch dudes hit golf balls into a screen. I'm sorry, there's zero excitement there. And people that are pretending like this is the next thing are absolutely lying to you. And I will admit, someone in my comments, because I made the comment about it because I tuned in just to see what it was all about. I lasted 2 minutes and flipped the channel immediately. Someone in my comments well, if they offered DFS, you might change your mind. And I am fine taking the L. And I admit, if they offered DFS on it, which they never will, because this thing's not going to be around within a year. If they ever did offer it, maybe I would have a different mindset, but they're not offering it. It's a shitty product. It's going nowhere. It's going to be done before you know it.
Clip it. They're going to do at least 2 seasons. That's why when Feinberg posted it, he said, does it make a season 3? They got the stadium set up.
Well, it might not be on ESPN then. It might be to a secondary network or something like TBS or something, because the ratings are that bad. Someone had posted out that, and I don't know for sure, but the evidence appeared to be there that cornhole was beating the TGL stuff. Cornhole was beating. If you can't beat fucking cornhole, it's game over.
People just have to accept that it's niche. I'm not even shitting on it as much, as saying that it's not for me. I get that. And I know it's very niche, that people that will like it. But like Kenny says here, and it's a good point, it was competitive last night. When you got the 2 owners, Tiger and Rory, amongst some of the other, but those 2 for sure, playing in a match together, it should get views. Obviously, if it's closer, the better. But how can you replicate all those different things, 80 feet of putts made, all these other factors? If it happens, it happens. But it's going to be, people just need to, like Hoop said, let it be what it is. It's just what it is. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. People trying to hype it into a major or something like that, or the intensity of it, that's when you make shit look stupid at that point. Just let it be what it is, and let who likes it like it, and who doesn't like it not like it. That's as simple as it needs to be.
I wasn't dogging cornhole, because I actually do like cornhole. I like playing and watching. I'll definitely watch cornhole over that, whatever that was last night on the TV, the TGL or what is it, just TGL? Is that what it goes by?
Tomorrow Golf League, actually, but there's other names.
You got to bump up that number. I'd say prime cornhole is like 40 and above. I'd say like that's where it's at. Unless you're in the South, like the hillbilly guys really like that shit. So starting at a young age.
I was gonna say I think it might be getting to the pickleball now too. I've been talking to a lot of the DFS folks, 40 and above, are getting into pickleball. So I'm rounding the corner into that age. But big in Nashville, I heard our guy Hamwich meeting some DFS personalities down there in Nashville at the pickleball streets. Let's what do you want to do first? You want to go through weather, break down the tiers, look at the site? What part do you want to start with here, and then we'll roll into it?
Yeah, so we talk about the course of the event a little bit, and then we'll come back and cover the content, the promo stuff, the new piece of content that we're going to be rolling out this week. We'll go that route. Yeah,
cornhole is obviously legit. People know this. It's actually fun to sit there and play. Anybody can play. You get the wives involved. You're playing things like that.
Cornhole. I'm not shitting on cornhole at all. Don't get me wrong, but like cornhole on TV, like again, if you are a show that's going on ESPN, which it is essentially, and you cannot beat a sport like cornhole, I guess is what I'm saying as a viewer. Like in terms of views, like you're going to have some trouble long term. Like, this is the most excited anyone's going to be about this TGL thing. This is the most excited right now, right out of the gate. You just had Rory and Tiger on. It's all downhill from here. It is literally all downhill.
We're clipping it. They're coming for you. If not, Hoop, I'm glad I'm projecting it over to you so all the hate can come back on you when it comes around. But let's talk about this. We got the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. We talked about being a signature event. With that comes a smaller field, no cut. The pricing, by the way, we did get Scotty back at 11.9, but with it being a smaller field, they chose to keep it over on DraftKings at $6,000 for the Stone minimum price tag. We'll get to stars and scrubs and roster construction, ownership, all that stuff after the fact when we get into it. But for your grand scheme overview, they're playing 2 courses. They used to play 3. The Monterey Peninsula is out, so it's Spyglass Hill and Pebble Beach. That'll be the 2 courses. Any first, your GSO, the grand scheme overview, what's your first thoughts knowing all of that stuff? And then the Scotty thing is big, right? Coming back from a hand injury. They showed him today, no brace or anything, but interested to hear your thoughts there.
Well, the nice thing for DFS is a lot of times when they play this event, there's no stat tracker on the other courses or ShotLink, right? Is that what it is? ShotLink. So we're going to have that for both the courses, which is huge because there's nothing worse than when they're on the rotational course stuff and you only get the shot tracker for one of the courses and not the other. But we're going to have it for both courses, which is very nice. We get a solid field, and honestly, like we talked about it a little bit last week, it's tough. These non-signature event, non-major weeks where it does look like a Korn Ferry Tour event, but that's where, in terms of having content to help you and guide you is very important because there's a lot of guys in that field that are unknown to the general public. So like, yes, it's going to look weak on these non-signature, non-major events, but having content, obviously at SHIPIT Nation, we're digging through all these guys and are going to be able to guide you through it a little bit more, but finally to have a nice, solid 80-man field with basically all guys that we know nice as well. Everyone makes a cut here. The Scotty stuff I think is very important. 11.9, he's 4-1. The books are giving him all the credit in the world, thinking that he's back to full health. And, you have to imagine there's a little bit of hesitation. I haven't really looked at ownership or anything all that deep. You have to imagine there's a little bit of hesitation for people. He's going to be owned. Don't get me wrong. People are going to play him, but it's going to be less than if we've seen him playing the last couple of weeks, if he had a couple top 10s mixed in. So I think there's an opportunity with Scotty. We'll see when all the ownership, gets more stabilized as the week goes on. Is there a preliminary number that you're looking at right now?
Yeah, you nailed it. If he was playing and playing well here with this pricing, this event, the way it's set up, he'd be 40. Instead, we're probably getting Scotty at 30 because that's kind of how it's setting up. And when you get down to the 6s, you'll see, shout out to our guy Kenny, he's digging in as soon as the freaking pricing comes out yesterday for the high stakes to look at it. And in high stakes, it's going to be even higher for sure. But Lee Hodges is one example down low. He's 6,200 and
that sucks because that's my boy too. I love Lee Hodges, love playing Lee Hodges. So, man, a lot of people are going to be on him. That's unfortunate. So
people can get the Scotty quite easily. Ben Griffin, who's always a fan favorite, he's down at 6,600. You got Taylor Moore, who's been all right so far. People looked at him a little bit. He's 6,400. Your guy Hubbard, my guy Yager, both at 6,700. Sam Stevens has been crushing is at 6,800. So stars and scrubs. And then you could make a case and story about all kinds of other guys. So kind of a different way to approach it this week. But part of the grand scheme overview is Scotty. And Scotty is definitely going to be played no matter what this week. People will just take their chances and follow the odds, the projections, all that and more. And it works easily here.
Yeah, so just going through, some more of these pricing tiers, I think the 9K guys, there's going to be some popularity there. I think it's probably a week where some of these 8K guys get overlooked quite a bit. We'll talk about that when we get there. Stars and scrubs obviously going to be viable, no cut event here, so everyone gets the full 4 rounds. But the Scotty stuff to me is very important because again, you're probably getting a little bit of an ownership discount on him because he hasn't been playing all that much lately, or at all, had the injury, and the price is still low. I mean, 11.9 for Scotty's 4-1 basically to win the event. So. The Scotty stuff's definitely important in what you do with him this week. And we'll talk through it all, roster construction, game theory stuff as we go through.
Yeah, and I'll also just say too, like the 8K range with this pricing, it almost just has to go overlooked, even though you'd think it wouldn't. Like I think Pendrith will get ownership no matter what because he's 8,300, about the average price point, and his odds project that way. But Jason Day, who's been awesome here and playing well as of late, like he's 8,900. Nobody's going to want to play like Victor Hovland, for example, because he hasn't been doing anything, but 8,800. Corey Connors, 8,700. Last year's winner, which if people don't remember was a 3-day shortened event, was Wyndham Clark at 8,600. Keegan Bradley playing better. And as much as I can make a case for these guys and say their names, Sepp Straka, right? You got Sepp down here as well at 8,000 flat, who just won. It's just a product of the pricing and the fact that it's no cut and people wanting to go stars and scrubs, that I just don't see a world where this 8K range can get much love outside of maybe 1 or 2 guys. I think it's the 9Ks that will get the love to Justin Thomas, Sung Jae Im, Hideki, Patrick Cantlay, those guys and more. Is that sort of what you were thinking?
Yeah, that's definitely what I was thinking. Like, there's just no way. People are going to want the guys up top. Obviously, Scotty at 11.9. Rory, I think, is another conversation. I think he has a chance to maybe get squeezed a little bit. For me personally, I think it's for all the right reasons. I don't have a ton of interest, but people are going to love Morikawa. They're going to see Ludwig under 10K. They're going to be interested. JT's playing good. Hideki is playing very well. Patrick Cantlay coming off a good start. And then, everyone's going to look at Sungjae at 9K and say, man, that's way too cheap for Sungjae. So the 9Ks are going to get owned. Scotty's going to get owned. Morikawa is going to get owned. The 8K some of these guys just have to get lost in the shuffle. There's no doubt about it. And people are less likely to play balanced type builds at no cut events. So 8K definitely will get squeezed. There's some guys in there that get a little bit, but overall it's going to get squeezed.
Yeah, agreed. And there is some guys, the chat's already bringing up names. We'll bring up DGen's notes later and show you a cool feature on that as well, but also just bring up some of the names you want us to. But I think there's a lot of guys at price points that you would almost be like, wait, one sec, like Victor Hovland, 8,800, Max Homa, 7,400. They've been playing that bad that it's like, okay, I can't really, you're not going to feel as comfortable. Some people are going to be more comfortable clicking Nick Taylor, JJ Spawn, all these guys versus some of the names that are around them. But even some of the other guys like Sepp just won 8K. Harris English just won 7,500. Like even if you want, some of them are playing good. And yeah, shout out to Satchel. That's the key, right? Like it's some guys you will say the opposite for. You say, I don't care what their price was, I wouldn't play them. But let's talk about the top tier for 1 second. I do have a quick TGL joke because all the things we set aside about the TGL, if the part that made you feel like it was a major last night was because Rory was a big favorite. People talking about Augusta National. Rory, big favorite, still can't get the job done, comes in second, in this case, to Tiger Woods. So there's your Rory TGL joke for the week, but still couldn't get it done in a big spot in a major-esque feel atmosphere. So sorry for Rory, but Rory is here at 10-7, Morikawa at 10-2, and I'm interested to see how you think it plays out, Hoop, after Scotty. So maybe we'll go there, and then maybe once we get through the 9K, we'll use that as a segue to bring up the new piece of content on the site.
Yeah, so I mean, upper tier, we kind of already touched on Scotty, where again, under 12K, 4-1 to win this event. Like Vegas thinks he's 100%. He probably is 100%. It seems like he's very cautious with the hand injury. No glove, no brace, no wrap on the hand today during the practice round. Have to imagine he's at full health. Is there a little rust? Maybe, but Scotty with a little rust is probably still the best golfer in the world. Like, honestly, a little bit of rust, he's probably still the best. Definitely very, very interested at the 11-9, and he's got 4 rounds to work with, which obviously, he's not going to miss many cuts anyway, so it doesn't really benefit him all that much. He's typically playing the floor, but he's going to score, and there's no doubt about it. Rory, I typically don't like Rory. I think this is a very bad course fit for him. And if you are a member at SHIPIT Nation, you will see our rankings agree with that. Like he's way back there on the course fit rankings this week. And I don't like it, man. I just don't like it at all. 10-7. He does probably get squeezed, does probably have relatively lowish ownership. Do you have the number there on him? Like the initial?
It's hard to say, but right now I'd range him 15 to 20 just because you can get to him by price. But the problem is everyone gets to Scotty. So right now I'm going to put him in like 15 to 18, somewhere in that bucket.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you don't play him, you're still making a move. I mean, you're definitely still making a move if you don't play him, which kind of leaning. And then Morikawa at 10-2. I think a lot of people are going to play him. The course sets up well for him. Played once and took second at the Century. So I think he's a strong option here at the top as well. So, I mean, the guys above 10K, Scotty, Morikawa I like a lot. Rory, I'm considering like the full fade on Rory this week.
Yeah, I'm just going to try and pull this up here quick. So on the site right now, a couple changes to it just to be noted, but for members and anybody who's not a member, now is the time to get in. We talk about it. The time to join is yesterday, right? We've got some big stuff upcoming. We've teased it probably enough. These are just some small things that we're doing right now. But if you didn't notice, there is no more core report. There is no more player pool. There is no more tier rankings. And we still have projections. We still have showdown with the stone and the slate plan. We wanted to simplify it and keep it all under one roof so that we had it. We're not getting rid of Lee Aldrich's value report. That's free every week. If you're not a member at SHIPIT Nation, you don't have to be. It's not for everybody, but you can still go get Lee's free value report where he writes up 6 value plays in the field. Other sites charge for their value report. Lee's have been dialed in. They're not missing cuts. It's been great so far. It won't last forever, but they've been some really good calls on his part. You talked about the course fit rankings. That's for members. We're going to load DGen's notes after because there's a cool feature in that we can use specifically for this event. The scorecard is always a good place to check back in, but we're going to load the new slate plan and show it off. We are actually going to convert a lot of our content to this. The goal in 2025 is to simplify things for members and to keep it so we always try and respect your time. Less is more, but we still want it to be quality when we do it. So what we've done is we've changed the slate plan to be all encompassing on one sheet. So for core report, you will get 2 GPP cores for DraftKings from Hoop, and you'll get the DraftKings cash core. You can use those plays on FanDuel because anybody you can play on DraftKings, you can pretty much play on FanDuel. We note if someone's a weird price or an off put or something like that. Did you have something, Hoop?
No, I was just going to say with the FanDuel stuff, it's unfortunate, but they've almost given up on the PGA product. I mean, I looked at the prize pools this week for a signature event, and there's just really not much. So, the other sports where the prize pools are much bigger, we obviously make sure to include FanDuel content. We have very specific FanDuel content for NFL, NBA, MLB, that sort of thing. But with PGA, it's tough because it's just limited effort on FanDuel's part. So you can apply a lot of the stuff, like you said, between both sites.
Yeah, and majors, they'll usually come around to play, and that's fine. Hopefully they do, and that'd be great for all of us. We'll get after it. By the way, we did add FanDuel projections, so you can still play on FanDuel using our projections. The ownership's a bit different, so it's not going to be that, but you'll be able to have the player projections at least. For the other cores, I'll have my usual 2 in FanDuel. So all it is with this is you're getting an extra core from Hoop when it comes to DraftKings GPP. So that's going to be on the site. We've condensed the tier rankings and player pool to be just Hoop and myself. You'll have the rankings within each range. So it's easy to tell 1 through 4, but it's almost a mini player pool because if you wanted to play, you'll get 20 golfers from each of us. We'll adjust these on weeks that it needs adjusted. Like this week, there's only going to be 3 guys up there, so we'll just put them in the order that we like them. But other weeks when it changes around, we might adjust full tiers, but it'll all be in one place. It's very easy to use. And then Hoop on his side, just because he's the cash guy, will also be noting any cash options that you can use there, and we'll probably just match them up for ease of use or to make it look proper. So we'll do that. Mm-hmm. And then starting next week, we'll also have what we call the slate breakdown. And for those members that were with us last year, we'll remember this is where I put all of my weather, ownership, the ranges, talk about roster construction, all of that and more. It'll all be on this one slate plan. So it's all clean, simple to use. And shout out to Ross, says right away, good idea, looks cleaner, and yeah, less tabs. That's the key, right? You don't need as many up, so you can still have the stone up, you can have the slate plan up, and then if you want to pull up any of the other stuff, you can. You'll be able to have your optimizer up, whatever that may be, when you're running your lineups. So anything to add on this hoop or anything, any feedback you guys have, just let us know in the chat. But we think this is going to be better, and we're going to aim to get it to all the sports where it makes sense and where we can adapt it in the right way. Yeah, go ahead.
Just like you said, to try to simplify things, make it easier, less spots you have to go. Obviously we have a wide-ranging content offering. There's a lot of different pieces of content and spots to go and different ways to use it. We don't want people coming to our site just for Tambo's core. Who's Tambo playing this week in PGA? I'm plugging that in, and then I need help with the other 3 spots. Like, we want you to become a better player. So the reason to consolidate, simplify the sheet is one spot. You're going to get all. Basically, you're not missing any content. It's all the same stuff, but it's consolidated down to one pretty much. You're going to have a very good idea of what I'm doing in any given week, what Tambo's doing in any given week, a lot of different ways to use this. And, the other nice thing is they'll be filled out early. I mean, we didn't fill it out, obviously, this week super early because we knew we were going to be showing it off here on the show. But tonight, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon at the latest, this whole thing will be filled out, ready to go for your consumption. And obviously, we're always open to feedback, constructive criticism. So if you are a member or if you do sign up and check this out and you have some ideas, definitely reach out. Let us know. We want to make this as user-friendly and as simple to use as possible. And, this is what we came up with. And like Tambo said, we want to, assuming this is successful, take this and use it for other sports as well. So a lot of our content is very similar sport to sport when it can be. So, excited to launch this for sure this week.
Yeah, and if you want to get in, this is still on, by the way. So just remind you quickly now, once we were about 20 minutes in, but just a note that if you do want to check out all access to the site, the $99 a month plan, which includes our optimizer, you can get it for $49 right now. That is less than PGA only with PGA optimizer. You can get the entire site, all access, using code SHIP50. It takes $99 down to $49. You'll get Showdown for the Super Bowl. You'll get all the golf for Classic and Showdown. MMA starts this Saturday, I believe, is 8 weeks in a row. So you'll get a month of the MMA stuff. NBA and NHL are still going on daily right now. And then NASCAR comes back for Daytona 500. So that's within this month as well. So a ton of good stuff going on there. I'm going to bring up DJ's.
Just one other thing I did just want to add on. And, we keep teasing the announcement, and it's coming very soon. So, don't worry about that. It will be coming. But, it does kind of tie in to the next step and the announcement. So it all kind of ties together. The promo code, the change in the content, and then the announcement. So, I mean, right now, again, like you said, yesterday was the best time to get in. I mean, sign up now. You get the opportunity to look at everything we're doing, all access for $49. And it is definitely going to be the best opportunity, trying to think the best way to say this, the best opportunity to have all access, all-encompassing product moving forward. I mean, this is the best opportunity. Things will be changing a little bit, I guess.
I don't think we have to sugarcoat
the teasers.
Yeah, the teaser part is simple. We'll move on to DJ's notes. I want to show one cool feature here, and then we'll keep it rolling with the tiers. But there will be a lot of people canceling their memberships at other sites, knowing that they can get exactly what we said on the front page here, which we've said long ago, and we're excited to finally get to that point. Everything you need to have success with DFS, and you'll be able to. Some people will save. I was talking to somebody today, didn't spoil it, but there's, what do you use now? What do you have for coverage? They're spending $2,500 a year on DFS content across all different sites and things that they need. This should make it so that you just need one-stop shop. And that's as far as we can tease it for right now, but it's going to be exciting. And we're going to bring it to you as soon as we have the news in final. So we never tease or announce an announcement unless it's extremely legit. And in this case, it literally will save some people thousands of dollars annually. So can't promise to make you money, or like some sites do, but we can definitely tell you we'll put you in the right position to do so. And by saving you all that money and giving you that opportunity, that's the best we can really guarantee. And again, it's to each their own, but I think a lot of people are going to like it and want to save a lot of money. I wanted to show this off, Hoop, in DJ's notes, because it's going to be good for this. But one of the cool features is you can type in something like no cut, and then you can go down, and I got to just scroll my page down so I can do this so everybody can see it, but still might be broken, still might be true about Max Homa, but down here, strong at no cut events. So again, it doesn't mean that's why you're picking them, one thing, but if you do want to just look up no cut and get some ideas, I know some people are looking it up by certain rounds, or they want to get showdown notes on certain people and be able to see what it says. Love to play bounce back rounds at showdown, things like that you can find. So DGen's notes really has a ton of possibilities. We'll use it again at the end when we go through everything. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get into this next year?
Max Homa last week wouldn't have been good at any sort of event at all. I mean, that was an absolute disaster. And I played him at a heavy rate, and man, was he bad.
It was hurtful. Yeah, that's like I said, lately it's been the case, and that's what people are going to say with some of these guys at these prices. Let me get your quick thoughts then on this 9K range, because there's a guy that leads me to think about that right off the top, who was also, Homa said he was sick, I guess, but Ludwig said he was sick, and that's going to be 9,900 for Ludwig this week. I can't imagine him getting really any ownership with Justin Thomas, Morikawa above, Matsuyama, Cantlay just below. But what do you think of this 9K range?
Yeah, like I can give Ludwig the free pass for being sick last week. He was absolutely crushing, and then came out before the round started and said I was throwing up, not feeling good, played like shit, but pretty much took himself out of contention. Max Homa never said anything about being sick until he went out there and was playing like absolute garbage. So I give Ludwig the free pass. Max Homa, absolutely not. I mean, we'll talk about it when we get there, but I really like Ludwig, 9,900. I think it's a good price tag. He has the sort of game to me that can play well on any sort of course, any sort of event, no cut, full field, shorter courses, longer courses. The guy's just good, super well-rounded golfer. So I'm very interested in him. Justin Thomas, obviously we have I guess maybe like a love-hate relationship a little bit, but finally starting to play pretty good. Had the second at the American Express. He's played well basically all year, and he's 9,800. I think he is a guy that does have a good year. 9,800. I'm interested in him. I don't think anyone's probably been playing better than Hideki at 96. Definitely interested going there. Cantlay 94. A lot of people were worried about him. He fifth at the American Express. Wasn't the greatest field, but solid turnout there. And then like Sam Burns. Yeah, I don't know. Tommy Fleetwood, another guy like Burns and Fleetwood. I'm kind of like I don't know what I'm going to do in regards to those guys. But Sungjae at 9K looks like a really good price tag. I'm assuming you're interested. That's your boy. But the results have been very solid outside the cut at the American Express. So it is a strong range. Very interested in a lot of these guys for sure. And, you can easily pair them with a guy like Scotty. If you want to go Scotty and Hideki, you're still over 7K, 7,100. This is a range where you can probably start with three guys. If you go, say, Ludwig, JT, Matsuyama, you're at 6,900. So, I mean, you can do a lot with this range. I mean, pricing is very, very soft. I mean, you only have three guys, 10K and above. Scotty, obviously, at 11.9, but you can do a lot of different things in this range. I mean, you could probably go, let's say, if you went Scotty, Cantlay, you're still, 6,600. So you can even make that work if you want to play a super cheap. So that's the reason this range is going to be so popular. Guys have been playing well. The names look nice, and it's easy to play them, especially in a no-cut event where it's fine taking some more risks in the 6K range, which we'll cover when we get down there. So it's going to be a popular range. A lot more ownership here than in the 8K range. Very appealing names. The two, somewhat iffy plays, Burns and Fleetwood, probably come in a little lower owned than the other guys. I guess you could definitely make the case for them if you wanted. But either way, overall, very strong range.
Yeah, and that's what you got to think about here, because like Ludwig should be fine. I mean, he definitely, he said, like you said, he came out early and said he was sick last week. He came second here last year. I know it's a shortened event, but still, play him anyway. Like you said, it really doesn't matter. I'm fine with him. It will be interesting to see because JT is right there at 9,800. One key piece of correlation, you might have forgot who, but you called bullshit on it last week when it happened. But remember, JT came out, and ever since he's been nice to the kids for 1 week, he ends up going out and playing pretty good again. Yeah. He's been better lately, but you get my point for your.
So people, like, obviously when I do post on Twitter, I got to get better with this. Honestly, I'm thinking about it last night. I'm not a huge social media Twitter guy, but like 90% of the stuff I post is me bitching, I realize. So I want to try to be a little more positive moving forward. It's a lot of negativity. I do want to try to be a little more positive on the X, I guess you should say. But I did post out there, and this is a factual thing that happened with JT. He's talking, the fan, you got to be more interactive with the fans and the kids. And, I got the example from 2 years ago at the Rocket Mortgage, and people were coming at your boy. Like, they were not happy. Oh, he does not have to talk to you and the kid. He's getting ready for the round, blah, blah, blah. And that's like my pet peeve when it comes to these athletes. It just drives me nuts, because I'm not saying you need to come over and sign 20 different things and give them this or that. I've made it very clear, as a professional athlete, all you have to do to make a kid's day is literally turn and wave. That's it. Acknowledge the kid, and you have the chance to make their day. And that's something they potentially never forget about, like never, ever forget about. So, that's not what I meant saying, oh, you got to come over and sign this and give my kid that. Like, all you literally have to do is acknowledge it. And honestly, there's probably like an age limit to it. If you see like a 16-year-old kid, like, yeah, all right, no problem if you ignore him. But if you see like a 7, 8, 9-year-old boy, say, no, Justin Thomas, like, turn and wave if you don't have the time of day to come over and sign an autograph or do anything like that. Like, so my point was, like, I'm not expecting these guys to come over and do all that stuff. Like, you don't need to. Just acknowledge the kids, every athlete, no matter if it's golf, Major League Baseball, NBA, every sport. I mean, turning and waving, acknowledging the kid could go a long way for them and the experience. So that was the point I made. But with JT, I find it to be very hypocritical that he's now saying we got to do more of this to build up the sport, when, again, it was a practice green multiple hours before his round, and me and my son were standing there, and Bones came over, gave my son a hat, super friendly. JT, no acknowledgement, and he can fuck off. It's a very hypocritical statement on his part. But again, this week I am interested in playing him in DFS.
Biases and heart, yeah, totally different here. So we got to think about that. I guess for me, Ludwig, JT, Cantlay, and Sungjae, of course, that's kind of what stands out to me. But one interesting was with Burns, just up and down, but not that bad lately. And then he did finish 10th here last year in the shortened event. So I think Burns at 9,200 could be intriguing for a no-cut event. It's over 4 days. I could see him coming through here at 9,200, and he's sort of in that squeeze range. A lot of people are going to land on Sungjae. A lot of people are going to be on JT. When they go to that secondary route of picking somebody around those guys, it's likely to be Hideki and Cantlay, where more people would go than dropping into the 8Ks, but you could land on Burns at 9,200. So I like this 9K range. I think you could play it a little bit differently. To your point, you could play Scotty in 2 9Ks, and some will probably try and do that. I think Scotty with JT or Scotty with M will be popular starts, but there is other ways that you could go about it. 2 9Ks, 3 9Ks, 4 9Ks. There's lots of different ways you could build if you want to move against Scotty, because it's going to be hard taking out that win equity that he's got. Again, just depends on what you think about him. But you reminded me earlier of like him a little bit rusty, better than most. That's like, as scratch golfers. Everyone has a buddy who can just show up on vacation to some random course and pick up basically hickory sticks and go out and still play just as good a golf they always do, if not better. And it's like, it's, again, at that level. This is different. It's not the best in the world, but he's priced at 11.9. It's a no cut, and you can fit everything around him. So I don't really think anybody has too much worry with Scotty, but if you are fading him, you should be looking to account for the fade by moving in a different direction that's around him to still try and pick up as much of that win equity and scoring that you can. Anything else in the 9s, Hoop? If not, let's go to the 8s. Jason Day, a really solid history here. Maybe I was going to say huge price for him. It's 8,900. It's not really a huge price, but it's one that for me, I think it's polarizing. Some would say that's crazy for how good he's been playing and how his course history is. Others would say it's still Jason Day, almost 9K. Feels like it's a bit much. What's your thoughts on Jason Day and the rest of this 8K range?
Yeah, I think people look at it in the latter there. I think people are going to look at it and say, man, Jason Day is almost 9K in a signature event. Like, I don't feel comfortable with that. And this week, I think it might be a mistake. A good course history here. Been playing well. Obviously, it's been putting. It seems like you just can't putt, and that's kind of more eye test stuff. Just following along last week, hitting the ball well. I'm interested in him. Like Victor Hovland, man, it's been a rough go for him. Like, I got to see something out of him before I can invest. Corey Connors, I'm always somewhat interested in. Wyndham Clark, won this event last year. It was shortened, but he did win the event last year, 8,600, moderate interest there. Will Zalatoris, I think, probably comes in pretty low owned this week after, WDing last week right before lock, 8,400. I want to be ahead on him. Like I said, what was the reason? Was there a reason given for the WD?
Which was this for, sorry?
For Zalatoris, was there a reason that he WD'd? I hadn't seen anything.
It was an early withdrawal, wasn't he? He's the one that withdrew before and then did it after.
Unclear. No one said any. I don't know. It's kind of maybe he was sick and part of that sick crew and just said I'm out this week, but it doesn't seem like it's injury related. So again, I think the ownership, his ownership is probably going to come in a little bit lower because of because of that WD. I'm interested in him. Pendrith is a guy I just want to kind of keep playing. He was solid again last week. I think he's good, man. I think he's definitely good. 83 is a good price. Finau, it's looked very rough for Finau, 8,200. I don't really like this course for him. Matt McNeely, I don't necessarily like playing in these really strong fields. Like I kind of like him in some of these weaker field events. I know he does have a lot of history here. He's played here. He's from the area. And then Sepp Straka, coming off the win 2 weeks ago, has been playing well prior to that. I'm interested in Straka at 8K. I think it's a good course for him. So there are guys here, but again, I think overall you're looking at a lower owned range here when you look at the entire slate. So yeah, they said he was 6, Zalatoris. That makes sense.
Yeah, it was about people got hit with the bug, and they were talking about that. I guess the 8K range for besides the plays, like you talked a little bit about each one and pros and cons and things in that, but I just don't see the ownership getting here outside of maybe a little bit to for sure Pendrith. I shouldn't say that. He's the one guy that I see the ownership moving to. I could see some later steam on Jason Day, Corey Connors, Keegan, and Straka because of what you talked about. I actually think, interestingly enough, Shane Lowry has better odds than some of these guys. So I know that sometimes drives it, but I don't see these guys getting to the range of like even the secondary 9K guys when you've got like Hideki and Cantlay outside of maybe Pendrith, who I mentioned. So I think just looking at how to play these guys, Scotty, and then skipping the 9s and being comfortable with some of these 8s, playing some 9s with some 8s and skipping the 7s, where a lot of people will live after they go Scotty, Lee Hodges, they're still going to land in the 7s. So this 8K range is intriguing to me on a week, and it doesn't have to be a balanced build. That's the most important part to remember. Like everyone just assumes when you're interested in the 8Ks, that means you're going to be leaving all this win equity at the top. I'm saying you can play Scotty with 2 of these 8K guys and then go from there and not use a Lee Hodges or something like that. So that's the difference maker and how I'm going to be looking at my builds as we get closer to lock this week. I know tomorrow morning, going in studio with Mayo, him and I will look at some roster construction and breaking down the builds over there on the Mayo Media Network. But right now, regardless of the name value, the upside, et cetera, I am interested in putting some of these guys into these lineups, getting the guys on top of them like a Scotty with 2 8Ks or some of these 9Ks with the 8Ks to go against the Scotty lineups that land in the 7s and use the low 6s. So do have interest in the 8Ks as of right now. Any other thoughts from you there? Anything on roster construction you can think of?
Did you mention Keegan at all? What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, people are talking about him. Obviously, he's playing really good golf right now. He's played here last year and did fine. 15th, 6th, 15th, 5th. Keep talking about the Ryder Cup captain thing, right? He's the captain. So he, in order to be a playing captain, he's basically come out and he hasn't fully said, I still don't fully believe it either, but he's basically said, or people believe him that he's only going to play if he makes the team. So he's dying to make the team on his own. So it doesn't have to come down to that. We'll see how it goes either way if he plays really good and just misses or something. But to me, it's a tough one. But I definitely like him here for this week at 8,500. I just think his ownership he will be one of the guys in here with Pendrith and maybe a couple others that get steamed up a little as we get closer.
You think he will, huh? Really?
Yeah, a lot of people are already talking about him. The chat was mentioning it earlier. Like Ross brought it up too. Ross has taken a ton of content as well. I'm sure others are talking about it already. But Keegan would be the guy. When no one's going to go to Zal off the withdrawal like you talked about. Clark won here last year. There's no way he could win twice and so on and so forth. People always look at that, and he missed cut last time out. So I just think it's going to – and Hovland, no one's playing. So, yeah, I think Keegan will get a little bit of steam for those that are playing people in the 8K range.
Well, he's the one that got screwed last year, right? For Justin Thomas's spot. Like Justin Thomas had no business making that team, like whatsoever. And Keegan was kind of the clear guy, and they looked him over for JT, which was absolute bullshit. And I agree with that. Jason Day, is that like the stylish thing in Australia? Is that like the route they're going with their apparel?
Yeah, Melbourne, man, they're standing out. It's supposedly super popular right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying they're seeing it everywhere. It's a flashy new trend to wear the Melbourne stuff and get it out there. Jason Day, they said, actually built that wardrobe himself last week. It wasn't.
That makes sense.
It wasn't picked by the group for him.
Continues to look like absolute shit on the golf course.
Yeah, this too. That's why people were. I can't fully remember how it all. It was like a rain delay, and then it got like it was shortened, all that. But everyone's saying he wouldn't have won because he wouldn't have putted like that if the tournament continued. So, and Malbon is actually cheaper than Sunday Red. Sunday Red by far the worst for someone who has $1 billion. And me being a marketing guy, there's literally the worst setup for everything. The logo, the name, even Puma and Cobra is suing him now for the logo. They just basically took a Puma logo and added the stripes, the tiger stripes, to match his majors that he's. I don't know if it was how many he'd won or like if he gets the record. I don't even know.
It's got to just be like overthinking it, right? I mean, whoever advised him on that, it's getting too cute. Like your Tiger Woods, like make it simple, very simple, and obviously you're going to have high quality stuff. Like it's just so terrible. The rollout, every aspect of it was just brutal.
It was like how they unveiled it. I think, speaking of high quality, they must have had some high quality edibles sitting in that room when the person who came out of the room was like, I've got it. And the whole table sits up and like, what is it? Oh, Sunday Red, but you split up Sun Day. So it's Sun Day Red. And then, it's amazing. Let's do that. And I can't even imagine that being a real thing, but that's how I envision it if that's what is happened. But to me, just a wild one for the millions of possibilities they could have come up with if that was the case. And it is extremely pricey for sure, that gear. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the 7K range. And how many golfers did they give us this week in this range? Wow. That's another factor. Wow. 26 golfers in the 7K range. But there is certainly some names in here, Hoop. So instead of naming them all, maybe just go through it, pick through what you see and what stands out to you. But I think this is going to be where we start to see some guys pick up a little bit of steam, especially in that upper 7K range.
I think the first name is very interesting. Like what's going to happen with Spieth? I mean, coming off the injury, said it was the wrist, unable to hit into the ground. Well, he's another guy that's been very cautious with his return. I imagine ownership probably gets held in check a little bit because it is his first event, and I'm not necessarily a Spieth guy. But I think the track sets up well for him. And assuming he is coming in at low ownership, like I'd be fine taking some chances on him at 79. I think Henley, I think it's a good setup for him. Tom Kim as well. I mean, Tom Kim hasn't been playing great, but, was on the
TGL last night. Played great at TGL last night. He was fired up.
That's definitely a boost. That's definitely got to boost him up for the TGL performance. But I do think though, he's a feel guy, man. Like if he's feeling himself, like it's good. And I shit all over TGL, but I actually like the fact that he's out there playing in regards to this week of PGA. I actually like that for him. I know a lot of people are, they're all going to get to the course late and they're not going to be prepared for a guy like Tom Kim. You got to be there with Rory and Tiger. I think it's actually a boost for him this week. So, I'm in on him at 78. Adam Scott, 76. That looks like a pretty cheap price tag. Actually, I don't even know why he would be 76. He's definitely a guy to me that could be in the probably upper sevens, maybe lower eights. So I'm interested there. My guy Poston, always interested in him. What people do with Harris English, I think, is interesting. Coming off the win last week for me. I don't really want anything to do with it. Coming to a signature event after the win, like I'm good, like not being there. Again, curious to see the ownership there. Max Homa, I'm just out on it, man. It's not like he was playing good prior to what happened last week, and you want to give him the pass because you think he was sick. Like he had a bad year last year. I tried it last week and it did not work out very well. Like I had a lot of him, unfortunately. So as of now, I'm not going there, but I always like Poston. I think Tom Hoagie's a great play this week. Track sets up well for him, 73. Harry Hall, 73, I think is a great option. And then guys like Fitzpatrick and Cam Young, like, 7,100 for Fitzpatrick, 7,100 for Cam Young. I mean, it has not been great for these guys, but 7,100, like that's dirt cheap. I think I got to take a chance on those guys at those very, very low price tags and hope they just find something at some point here. And, Cam Young, what he cut at the American Express. I mean, I'm going to take chances on those guys at 71 that they can just, find something and use their talent. So I don't know, those are a few of the guys I'm interested in, but a big range, like you talked about, a lot of golfers here.
Yeah, Ross brings up a good point too. I don't have this all in front of me right now or the breakdown of, but sometimes when things get brought up that I think are interesting, I'll talk about them still. And this is one of them, is the field strength right now versus the course history strength of some of those guys. And even like some of how they're playing right now, like what Hoop just talked about, like Homa, but he has good course history here. No, he played good here from 2019 to 2021. Checks calendar, it's 2025. Like literally 4 years ago was the last time he played good here. It has nothing to do with today. Oh, all these other guys, they'll bring that up for. It's like, that's the stuff. That's why it's not who you play, it's how you play them. Like, I really don't care about the names. I've talked to tons of people about this. If you just wanted to pull up the stuff and look at sort of how people are building lineups, what the ownership is, building accordingly, playing the game of DFS, applying weather and things like that you can do, you'll probably have way more success than trying to predict why someone's going to do here because they played good here 4 years ago. So when people talk about that stuff, it's really tricky. There's a lot more nuance to it.
Very tough. And I am interested in Nick Taylor. One nice thing about Nick Taylor that remains true is he can win. And a lot of guys cannot win on the PGA Tour. There's really good guys that can't win on the PGA Tour. Nick Taylor can win. He's proven it. I am interested in him.
But that's my thing, though. Like that, even like Nick Taylor is a prime example. I don't give a shit that Nick Taylor won here before. Not that you just said that.
I didn't even know he did. I didn't even know he did win here. I was just saying that he's won PGA events. So that's good to know.
But he won recently, and he's been a winner this past year and a half, and he's playing great right now. And again, if you actually look at his record here, 3 of those, but he won here. Yeah, 5 years ago. 4 of those other years, 39th, 71st, and 20th. Like, these are not stellar finishes based off of that. So that's not why I like Nick Taylor. If I like him, that's why. But one of the most interesting things to me, again, names aside, just some of the stuff that stands out to me, is this 7K range. I don't think anybody plays Spieth, to your point. It's not low ownership. It's almost no ownership because I just don't see them getting there, coming back like this. People did like Grazerman the week that I thought they would, he did come down a little from what I expected him to, I said he'd come back some, he did, but he still got ownership that week. He was 9,200 and now he's at 78. I don't know how much people factor that because strength of field much different, but that's accounted for with this discounted price. Tom Kim should be popular right there. I think Bobby Mack is a guy that people will like, and so at 7,700, but I don't think many are going to play Harris English. I think the other thing to note is Bo Hostler. People should go to Bo Hostler here. We'll see if they actually do, but Hostler is one that's kind of like a mixture of everything that I just talked about because he's coming in off a 12th and a 15th. And then his last 3 years here, which people keep looking at this course history, regardless of strength of field, are 3rd, 11th, and 14th. So he's playing really good right now. He played really good here anytime he's played it recently. So I don't know. It's just funny to me. And then one more I was going to point out. I just don't know if he's priced. He might be 60. How much is he here? Just let me find this guy real quick. Justin Rose is who I'm looking up. Oh, he's priced at 6,300. So isn't Justin Rose your Max Homa or your Nick Taylor? Like, everyone keeps telling me how Nick Taylor won here before. Justin Rose won here 2 years ago. Nick Taylor won here 5 years ago. So again, obviously it's a joke. Nick Taylor's been crushing it lately, but that's kind of my point on the course history, stupid shit where people just bring that up all the time. Like it's a thing. So
where did Rose last week?
Rose? Miscut.
Okay. I couldn't remember. I thought for some reason, he played well. Was he? He must have been up there after the first round, I'm assuming.
Maybe. One last thing I want to note, though, this 7K range doesn't look like anyone is playing anyone from the bottom of the range. Maybe JJ Spawn, maybe Harry Hall, like some of these guys, but even like the Poston, the Hoagies, the Halls, the Spawns that should get a little bit of love. Siwoo, Denny, for sure. Okay, Denny maybe. But outside of that, I see a lot of guys still being under 10% in this bottom 7K range. And that's just a product of the pricing and the setup that people that go to Scotty will typically get to the low 6s that get them out of this range instead. So again, a Scotty lineup with a bunch of guys in the low 7s and stopping there. a Scotty lineup that's heavier with 8K guys that then lands in the low sevens. Things like that are where you're not sacrificing the Scotty win equity if that's how you feel, but you're able to still build a very nice lineup that lands and is just built differently than others. A lot of that applies, even if you're just playing single entry, 3 max, whatever it might be. That's sort of how I look at things, at least. Hoop, anything else to add in this 7K range you want to mention?
No, good.
All right, 6K range starts off very strong. Ricky Fowler, right out of the gate, 6,900. Ricky Fowler kicks it off, but maybe just go through and look at the sixes and go through some of them. I'll try and pull some stuff up as we go throughout. If you guys want some notes on any golfers, and there it was, our own notes in-house here.
Yeah, that's what it was.
69 in round 1.
Yeah.
And shot an 80. That happens at the north-south, right?
Yeah, I remember seeing him up there. So it was definitely round 1, and then he melted down for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of guys, and obviously more viable this week because no cut event. These guys are all getting 4 rounds, unless they pull the Max Homa and WD after a shitty start to the event. But Eric Cole, I don't know. Like, he's a guy a lot of people absolutely love playing, but like, does he ever really do anything? I mean, 68th last week, 68. I don't know. Like, I keep playing him. I mean, I'll probably play him again this week, but people love playing his ass, and the results are rarely. He's
always gone, and then he's back. They're like, oh, okay, he rode his wave. He's done. Yeah. Then he comes back for a minute and gets a few good results or a couple good results. You're like, oh, I think if Eric Cole's really back, we've got him now. We're going to have to get to him. And so I don't know if he's getting any ownership. I think at the exact same price, Hoop, Sam Stevens will eat up a lot of that ownership at $6,800.
Yeah. Coming off the second place last week, looked really good, and probably rightfully so. I'm somewhat interested there. Mark Hubbard, we always talk about it. Obviously, one of my favorite cheap guys, always for the most part. And the problem with him is he tends to really struggle in these loaded fields where there's really good golfers. And I'm still going to play him at 67 because he can score. He has an ability just to go out there and get eagles. So I am interested in him at 6,700. Gary Woodland, 65. I know he screwed. What was it?
Late WD.
Yeah, the late WD screwed a lot of people for sure. And he was owned. He was definitely owned, which is crazy, like 12% and whatnot. Echeverria, Harmon. I kind of like the lower sixes, to be honest with you. Like, coming down here, like all the way. I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom. Pavone at 6,100. I'm definitely somewhat interested in him. Lucas Glover, 6,100. I think is interesting at this course. Coming off a missed cut, but 6,100. I mean, interested. Lee Hodges. I know our guy Kenny kind of pointed him out earlier, playing really, really well. 6,200, and he's probably going to get some ownership because of the recent results, but I can't go away from it. Chris Kirk, you talked about Justin Rose, Taylor Moore, Harmon, Seabez. I think Seabez makes sense of this course. I think I kind of already threw out Echeverria, who was on that heater that missed the cut at the American Express. I kind of just like the lower sixes, and it gets me more flexibility within my lineups for sure. So a lot of guys. 6K range, obviously more viable this week. No cut event. These guys should all get the full 4 rounds. But yeah, I'm interested in a lot of these dudes down here.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up some of the other ones too, just some of the stats that I would see and things like that. Like Taylor Moore has shown flashes. Who's the other guy I was just going to mention? I don't know. I would take some chances away from Lee Hodges here, only because of if he actually does get that ownership. You have Doug Gim, Mackenzie Hughes, Patrick Rogers, Kevin Yu. There's a few guys here that would stand out to me that I'd be willing to take a shot with. The Glover one, interesting, but he always, I don't know, he always seems to still get a little bit of love. I just don't know.
There's enough names down here where it does get spread out. Like in the higher stake stuff where, Kenny had pointed out the Scheffler, Hodges. In higher stake stuff, yeah, that's going to be a very common start. Scheffler, Lee Hodges. But in full field stuff, the lottery type stuff, like, there's enough names down here where it should get spread out. Yeah, maybe Lee Hodges is the highest owned of the group, but there's other options here where people will go to as well.
Yeah, this is, I think everybody agrees with this, Jared. So it's a great point you brought up, but you have to remember there's more factors to it. And one of the main ones will be is like you almost are down to a 4v4 because most of the lineups, a high percentage, I should say, of the Hodges lineups will have Scotty. So now you only have 4 spots to get different, but you're almost forced into a similar roster construction. So you give yourself less and less outs, even though it may be the inevitable, and it just happens. Sometimes when the best value play gets there, with the top owned guy at the top being a guy like Scotty, it's usually going to be a bad week for a lot of tournament players that are looking to avoid situations like that. And again, it's a no cut, like they said in the chat. So you're getting lots of different options. So, you only got to outscore for a day or two, and some of that can happen in a big way. So I think there's definitely options. I like your call out down here that some of it might get spread out, but even the upper range, Ben Griffin's going to be popular, I think, but you've got Eckroat, Horschel, Jaeger, Dunlap, no cut at least. I know he's not going to always flash for whatever reason, but at least it's a no cut. So I don't know. There's definitely a different way you can go about it, but I think there's also interesting builds that just involve the 7K range. And man, I'll just say it again because it stands out to me. The low sevens just aren't getting enough love. It's getting spread out because of everything we just talked about and the stars and scrubs and no cut. But I would much rather have Minwoo Lee, Siwoo Kim, Davis Thompson, JJ Spawn, Nick Taylor, Tom Hoagie, Akshay, Poston. I know you're getting up there a little bit, but you can find $1,000, $500 to $1,000 is all I'm talking about when we're talking about comparing these safe 6K guys and this range that I just talked about. So to me, I'm going to be looking at some different roster constructions this week that involve some of those lower 7K guys because they make a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, I'm good with that approach as well. I mean, a lot of people, again, are just going to, I'll just take my chance with the guy in the 6K range because I'm able to get, X player. And, to say everyone's safe in the 6K range, they're safe to play 4 rounds of golf. That's it. They are not safe to score DraftKings fantasy points. And we've seen it go the opposite way on these no-cut events where obviously you do have the 6-6 and these guys just absolutely shit the bed and turned it into a bogey fest. So they're safe to play 4 rounds. They're not safe to score a significant amount.
They're going to score. They are safe to score points, just not the required amount.
Yes.
You might have to. So this was shown earlier. Kyle's asking about this. Just going back to it here. I mentioned it already, but let me go back for 2 seconds just so people see this because this is the funny part too. Like I said, I would much rather people want that have people that play no other sports hoop that just play DFS and like, you know what, I want to dabble in golf. They do love to come over and say, okay, who is in hoop score? Let me follow it. And at least they know you're all in on the research. You've put in the time. You're using a lot of the tools and whatnot to create your own stuff and come up with ideas. So they trust in that. And that's truly why we have this. But the people finding the most consistent success are using the stone, using the scorecard, the rankings, putting it together with the optimizer, using all of that stuff and more. But I think one of the big things is the breakdown that people love. And that's why this is not going away, is they like to know what the weather is. They can wait till DJN comes on. He does give us the best update. Good news, part of the team at SHIPIT Nation. He's a partner. We love to have him. So Wednesday nights on the emergency stream, you'll get the best, most up-to-date, the Discord with our team there. But just to note it, like this is here, my ownership thoughts. That's sort of my own version of the Moonwalk and Steam where I'm getting ideas put in there. And then the roster construction, even if you just read those and then apply your own process, how you use the stone, how you use the data and the projections and the ownership, this will always still be in there. It's starting next week at the Waste Management, and that'll be every week thereafter. Anything else you want to add there, Hoop?
No, I mean, with everything we've done, I mean, we've put a ton of time, effort, resources into building this PGA product. I mean, obviously slightly biased, but this is the home for PGA DFS content. I mean, we're building something big here. Building the stable role with our guy Luke, who's doing a hell of a job on those showdown videos. I mean, the showdown videos round 2, 3, and 4. I mean, big time stuff in there. I mean, he's doing a great job and a lot of momentum there. A lot of people tuning in. So we're dedicated to this PGA DFS product. It's a big part of what we do, and it's going to be a big part of what we do moving forward. And we'd love to have you. And we didn't even talk about the Discord. The Discord community is off the charts as well. Friendly environment, like-minded people. This is the home for PGA DFS content. I see what other people are selling. They're selling you on, you need to have these projections. You have to have these projections from this guy. Like, no, you don't. That's just one piece of the pie. Others say, you got to have so-and-so's core plays for the week. If you don't have his core plays, you can't win. Just one piece of the pie, man. We have everything you need to build competitive lineups, and we'd love to have you this season.
Yeah. The chat's killing me now. CK says, is Scotty a sure thing at Pebble? I'll take my chances winning golf is hard even for Scotty. But then CK, you may need that extra roster spot to take down Scotty. I see you here with 1 10K, 2 8s, and 4 7s. That might be what it takes to take down Scotty, my friend. You might need
that. I want that roster construction.
I want that one too. Let me have 7 guys and get in there, and then I'll fade Scotty with you. Then we'll get there that way. So I'm teasing. I know CK is always in here supporting. We appreciate it. I liked before. This is not a fine option. If you're fading Scotty and you want to get after it, one of the ways, because you can double hurt Scotty, right? If you think Scotty is going to have a 6K guy in a lot of the Scotty lineups, then 3 9Ks gunning down Scotty for the win with your 7s coming through instead of the cheap 6s. These are definite things that you can do as ways to get around it. So, and Dollar Bill says Mondays in the Discord are can't miss, and also says, to be honest, I'm just saving my bankroll for when Jimmy Stanger is in the field. Your boy, who
sharp. That is sharp. That is a very strategic approach for sure.
Save your bankroll for when we get Jimmy Stanger in the field. All right. Anything else you want to talk about, man, before we get out of here? I think that's sort of a brief but good breakdown going over. Did anybody have anybody they wanted us to look up in DGen's notes? Maybe I missed it, but some people, I asked them earlier and I just didn't see any pop up. But
yeah, I haven't seen any names in there. No, but I'm excited for this week. Excited to get the new piece of content rolling, and it's a long stretch from here on out, all the way through the FedEx Cup playoffs. PGA DFS it's a lot of fun, and very excited. We'll be doing these shows every week. We got the Wednesday show and then the Showdown shows as well to go along with all our content. So for me, it officially kind of starts this week. I'm excited for this week and again to get that ball rolling all throughout the season.
They want to look up Hoops Boy Hubbard. Struggles in strong fields.
Yeah.
Prefer on easy courses. Approach has been declining. Wow, he's not looking too good. What about Sam Stevens they mentioned earlier? Better than the DFS community thinks. Prove that again last week. Excels in round 2, struggles in round 4, masher off the tee, streaky from week to week. So if you see a lot of ownership for that, let's see what we got in here for Jordan Spieth. I will not play him until he proves he's not broken. So we'll not be playing him. The thing is, though, does he have it in here? He doesn't, but go collect. Throw it in the chat. What's the rule about Spieth? I'll be interested to hear the emergency stream this week to find out what DGen says about Spieth, because I will not play him until he proves he's not broken. Would say he'd have to prove himself first. Can't play him this week, but typically the rule for Jordan Spieth is we play him when nobody else is. And like I said earlier, it might not even be just low ownership. It might be 0 to no ownership. Like I just don't see anybody really playing Spieth there. I'm teasing it. He'll obviously be like 3 or 4% or something just because, but it would be, probably the lowest we'll see for quite some time. And if he does come through, that's going to be interesting also.
Yep. Agree.
Kevin Yu, great showdown player, terrible putter, but occasionally gets hot. Very good approach player, very aggressive. We like aggressive at a no-cut event. So good T10 percentage, it's possible, but you know what you're getting with Kevin Yu. The nice part is he's a perfect pivot down low. He's actually the stone
minimum. What's his price?
6K flat. 6K.
Really? Oh, interesting.
Kevin, you had me at hello, by the way. Great nickname. I love that one too. What else? Dope Tool just subbed on Sunday. We appreciate you. Yeah. Woodland. I'm holding out for Steve Ballesteros. No. Notes for Speed. Tom Lehman. Sad news. Yeah. Not much going on here. Oh, okay. So the last one I saw there, somebody said Woodland. Let me just look up Gary. Struggles in majors and par 72s. A lead off the tee. Short technical. I guess, I don't know. The chat would probably know better than I do. But if you liked him, you like Gare Bear last week at 15% ownership, and then he WDs on you, you should love him this week at low to no ownership when everyone's done with this guy after he screwed them out there. So we'll have to wait and see. Any final thoughts from you, Hoop, before we get out of here? Good to go?
Yeah, good to go. Excited for this week. Make sure to tune into all the shows. DGen tomorrow, and then the Showdown shows on this channel with our guy Luke around 2 through 4. All our content will be probably start to get updated tonight, and then tomorrow morning, afternoon, it'll all be finalized. So now's the time to get in. The code is SHIP50. It's going to be the cheapest opportunity to get all access on the site, and then more goodies to come. We keep teasing, but the goodies that are coming are very, very, very good. Very good goodies.
Good goodies are on the way.
Good goodies.
Just this note here, the final thing. To use SHIP50, don't do anything but this. It's the best deal. It's $34 for a week. You're going to pay $49 for a month. and that is less than the PGA optimizer at $59, where you get PGA, all the content plus the optimizer, $49 for all access, all the content, Discord included, plus the optimizer. So ship 50, give it a try. You won't regret it. Let us know. Tag us up when you're in the Discord. That's going to do it for this one, guys. For Hoop, for myself, ToeTagginTambo, let's ship it.